only 3 of the teams that have been part of the IPL since its inception are yet to win a title. 2 of them go head-to-head today. One of them still stuck on 0 points for this campaign. Can Delhi Capitals finally find flight as they visit the Chinnaswamy Stadium to take on Royal Challengers Bangalore? Well, welcome to ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout. We're joined this Saturday to begin this doubleheader with Ian Bishop. Welcome back, Bish.
Thanks for having me.
And for the first time on our English coverage this IPL, Amol Muzumdar. Delighted to have you here, Amol. How's it going?
I'm absolutely fine.
Enjoyed day one here, Bish?
It was interesting. The dialogue between RK and Modi was something that we can park aside today. That won't happen today, will it?
Yeah, well, lots of banter there. Amol's here for the first time. We'll be a bit more polite today.
Right.
I'm a batsman, and I know sometimes when somebody like Bishop is sitting next to me, it's better to leave it alone.
It's a good batting-bowling combination we've got, something both these teams are still trying to figure out. The most interesting thing about this matchup, Bish, these are 2 of the leakiest bowling attacks, and they play at a ground which is not exactly one that bowlers prefer to be at.
Yeah, absolutely right. And, it'll come down to the point that if you're batting first, I think one of the things you got to do is maximize your batting effort. You never know how much is enough. RCB's opening combination are going very, very well, so you'd like to see them do that. Hasaranga is back, so when he bowls, wickets in the middle overs will be absolutely crucial. That's an area that RCB have been falling short, not to mention their death bowling. So I was curious there about the selection between the 2 left-arm seamers, but Hasaranga will bring a lot to this bowling lineup.
That is true, and we've got a lot around Hasaranga, which we'll throw at you very soon. Amol, just looking at Delhi, 2 weeks into the season, yet to find a win. You already know that playoff berth already feels so far away. How do you, in, say, the coaching staff, and they've got quite some heavy names there, how do you lift a team knowing that the season's already quite beyond you?
Look, it's very difficult. I always feel that IPL is kind of a beast of a tournament where, if you don't start off really well, then you're always trying to catch up on things. And that's not a good sign. But having said that, the coaching staff needs to make the players realize this is where we are. We don't need to lose on hope. And we need to restart again. Couple of things straight away come to my mind is, one, they need to play aggressive cricket. They need to have that attacking mindset, not just in their batting and bowling, but even while fielding. And I think there's another aspect to that attacking mindset is while doing the captaincy, David Warner needs to take those bold decisions. So I think this is where, they can start off with. And then, you need to have a lot of your team ethics or work ethics needs to go up, where you can have those team dinners and, try to bind that team together. You need to keep that team together. When you don't get off to a flying start like what Delhi Capitals have, then all you need to do is keep the team intact. And that's very important as a coaching staff.
Hope is the big word I held on to from what Amol said. Hope is something Delhi fans have hung on to from the start of this competition. Delhi did win this toss. They have elected to bowl first in what is the first day game at the Chinnaswamy so far this season. The big change, of course, is Wanindu Hasaranga, one of the leading bowlers from last season, is back in the RCB lineup. He is our player under the spotlight today.
Wanindu Hasaranga looks set to make his IPL 2023 debut on Saturday afternoon, and he will play at Bangalore's Chinnaswamy Stadium for the first time in his professional career against the Delhi Capitals. Hasaranga had a good first season with RCB, first full season with RCB after they spent big on him at the auction last year, taking 26 wickets, the second most in the league, as the franchise narrowly missed out on an IPL final. However, this afternoon's game in Bangalore will provide a big challenge for Hasaranga. It's the first time in his professional career he's playing at the Chinnaswamy, and as we know, the ground has a unique challenge among grounds in India, in that it has extremely short boundaries in all directions, and the wickets tend to be pretty flat and pretty good for batting. Now, there is some consolation for Hasaranga ahead of this challenge. in that his predecessor as RCB's main leg spinner, Yash Jha, has been pretty successful at the Chinnaswamy. He's taken more wickets by a distance than any other bowler at this ground in IPL history, and has also done it at what is a pretty good economy rate given the challenges that the ground poses. But how will Hasaranga fare in his first game at the Chinnaswamy? He's playing a day game, which might mean that it's an easier challenge than a night game because Dew won't be involved. But his success at this ground could be the key to RCB's season, and they need to start winning fast.
Brilliantly set up, as always, by Matt Roller. Let's take that straight to Bish then. What does Wanindu Hasaranga bring to this RCB lineup, and how big is this challenge for him to bowl at the Chinnaswamy?
It's going to be unique, given that the ball seems to travel a lot further down there. But he brings a control of length, a googly that very few people have been able to read consistently in the international game, whether it's franchise cricket or international cricket in T20s. So if he can show that control and work away at this Delhi batting lineup, which hasn't really fired this season, it'll give RCB that control in the middle overs. If it comes to that, if their seamers can work at the top of the innings when they bowl, what happens at the back end of the innings, only time will tell.
The middle overs has been a phase where Hasaranga has thrived. The middle overs has also been a phase where RCB have struggled so far this season, gone at more than 10 per over, taken only 8 wickets. Does this automatically lend so much better balance to their attack, Amol?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I think RCB had that success last year in the 2022 season. One primary reason was Josh Hazlewood got them the firepower up in their bowling lineup with the new ball, and then Hasaranga did the job for them in the middle. Now that Hazlewood is not there, it gives an added responsibility on Hasaranga to finish the job in the middle overs. And as Bishop rightly said, that you know, he brings that you know, there is a little bit of a you know, a double mindset of the batsman, where you know, they are not able to read his googlies quite well, whether it's international cricket or franchise cricket. But again, having said that, it's going to be a test for Hasaranga bowling at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. It's a different ball game when you get on that stadium.
Yes, and so vital what Amol brings up, that this is an RCB bowling attack which has had to start this season without a Josh Hazlewood, without a Wanindu Hasaranga, who was so key to their run to the playoffs. And they've also had a bunch of left-arm seamers who seem to be replaced every game. Started with Reece Topley, he got injured. Got David Willey in next game, Wayne Parnell in next game. Bish, I saw that element of surprise on your face when you heard at the toss that it's Willey who's gone out of the team and not Parnell.
Yeah, because Willey came in and replaced Reece Topley. And I thought he did well in that initial game when he came in. He didn't get any wickets in the second game, and Parnell got 3 for 40 odd. But I thought he showed control. And Willey is one of those that can bowl across phases as well. So I'm not sure what swayed the decision. Parnell can bat, Willey can bat as well. So I found it interesting. I love the control that Willey showed in the 2 games that he played. But hey, they've made their decision, so we'll have to see how it pays off. What I do like, though, Siraj at the Chinnaswamy this season sort of picked up some of the slack that Hazlewood's absence has created with that new ball.
Yeah, bowled a particularly good over towards the death when Nicholas Puran was running rampant in that game against LSG. All right, that's the RCB bowling. How can we not talk about the RCB batting? So many runs between Virat Kohli and Faf du Plessis. Both have scored half centuries in both the home games so far this season. But then invariably you head towards the middle overs and something starts stagnating. First thing first, do you think, given what Chinnaswamy is like, they must go harder in the middle overs, or given the sort of batting depth they have, is the conservative approach the better way out?
That's for me.
That's for you first.
Batting question. I get a batting question. I love it.
We're balancing it out.
No, I think that Faf and Virat, if they get a start again, should be good enough to play what they see. The only mantra that I'm sort of using in this IPL is don't take any deliveries off. And I don't mean every ball has to go for 6 or 4. What I mean is, even if you're defending a ball, defend with intensity, always still looking for, and you'll get dot balls, right? But let's say a guy bats all 20 overs, he'll face, what, 60, 65 deliveries. You can be at full intensity for all of those, and then the other guys who face 5 balls, 10 balls, 15 balls, just keep it up because you never know what's enough. So I don't see any reason for cruising. Just play what you see, but play with intent.
The power play is where both of them have obviously done so well. Today provides a unique challenge in that sense because you've got Anrik Nortje, who's got good numbers against Virat Kohli, just missed him twice in 7 innings. Kohli scores at less than a run a ball against him. And for Faf, he's had dubious numbers against left-arm pace since the start of last season. You've got Mustafizur Rahman in that regard. So do you see them playing safer in the power play, which is where they have gone harder so far, Amol?
Well, to be very honest, the numbers are for us to discuss. Yeah. But when you take the field, I don't think the numbers play a part. So from Virat Kohli's point of view or from Faf's point of view, they will not be thinking about these things. The only thing what matters, I feel, in T20 cricket in the last 2-3 seasons, the game has taken a little bit of a turn there in terms of striking ability of the batters. It's all about the strike rate now. It's no more a ones and twos game. It's more about fours and sixes. I mean, if you see the last week that has gone by, if you see who has been phenomenal was Rinku Singh, 5 sixes. So it's all about fours and sixes at the end of the day of a T20 game. So I think both Faf and Virat would be knowing that the strike rate is important, even in the middle overs. If you see yesterday's game, when Aiden Markram played a great role in in that partnership. So I think when the things were slowed down in the middle, Aiden Markram took over, got a 50 of 25 balls and covered it up for Harry Brooks. So I thought this has been an interesting phase in the T20 circuit. That strike rate would be very, very crucial.
Can I just add to that by saying, I think he's absolutely right. But you have to, how you choose to score off more balls is the key for me, whether it's sixes and fours. The other night, who scored 56 dot balls? Punjab Kings.
Punjab against Gujarat, yes.
Yep.
You can't do that. I mean, you can't make up enough sixes and fours if you're not scoring off 56 deliveries, right? So score off more deliveries. However you choose to do it, find a way to, especially down at the Chinnaswamy, you don't, ideally, I don't think you want to see beyond 40 dot balls if you can help it.
Yeah, and it's been a template we've known for, what, 7-8 years now. One of the famous ones being that India-West Indies semi-final from 2016, where dot balls versus boundaries, you saw who ended up winning, and there was a clear contrast in both those numbers. I feel Glenn Maxwell becomes an interesting talking point, but before I bring that to you, gentlemen, let's get the playing 11s out and what the sub-options are for both these sides today. RCB, as we've mentioned, have got one Indu Hasaranga in, who replaces David Willey, who had played a couple of games for them. Interesting change right at the end of that list. You see Vishak Kumar, who comes in, and among the impact options, you've got Karan Sharma, Suyash Prabhudesai, Akash Deep, Anuj Rawat, and David Willey. Willey, of course, can't realistically feature because they have got 4 overseas players. Amol, what do you make of that? I
think Vishak Kumar, he plays for Karnataka and in the domestic circuit, so he knows the ground pretty well at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. He has played all his life over there, so I think that's a good change. Mohammad Siraz, as Ian rightly said, has been phenomenal for RCB, especially with the new ball. He's a wicket taker. And even I was a little surprised when they left David Willey out, but they've stuck by it. Wayne Parnell is the man to go. But I feel a little bit of a concern. Few minutes back I said about Josh Hazlewood, along with Harshal Patel, formed a very good combination. This year I'm finding Harshal Patel a little off colour.
What we saw, Bish, is obviously a batting first 11.
Yeah.
So you'd reckon there'll be changes when they come out to bowl. 2 choices there. You've got Karan Sharma as the leg spinner, who's bowled well so far.
Yes.
And Akash Deep. Usually it would be a simple choice, but this is a day game. Could you be tempted to get Karan Sharma in and have 2 leggies operating?
Well, the great thing about what will happen, and I concur in Harshal, by the way, apart from that last game, he's been leaking runs, so he'll want to step up. You make that assessment after you've seen how the pitch has behaved while you're batting. So that's a good thing. You have those 2 options, but they can afford to wait a little bit longer and think about which one of those guys they want to get in.
Right, let's take you through Delhi's lineup for this game against RCB as they chase a first win. Mitch Marsh, of course, is back from a quick wedding and honeymoon getaway. And he replaces Rovman Powell in the 11. Delhi with their overseas quota complete. Delhi will be bowling first. You see Aman Khan, who slots back in, played earlier this season. He's back in now. Expect more of a role for him, Amol?
Absolutely. I mean, Aman Khan, he's played for Mumbai with my team in the Ranji Trophy circuit. He's a dasher. He bats with a lot of freedom. I think he's one innings away from what you can see what Aman Khan can bring to the table. I feel he's a dangerous player. His strike rate is quite high, and as you said, Mitchell Marsh will add that firepower to that batting lineup, and if he bowls. So after marriage, probably that luck might change.
Yeah, we'll see how the stat index works post-marriage, pre-marriage. Tends to be different for different players.
I'm staying away from that. But
yeah.
just quickly there, look, a loss for either team today would hurt badly. I mean, Delhi haven't won one. RCB expect to play better at home. But I'm looking at the Delhi Capitals here and go back to the start of the conversation. The great thing about T20 cricket these days with the teams is one good player can win you a match on his performance, whether it be Mustafizur, Anrik Nortje, someone like a Mitch Marsh, who when he fires quickly. Abhishek Porel is a lovely little wicketkeeper batter that I like. I'm hoping to see more of him as we go along. So one of these guys, you're talking about team bonding and stuff, but just give me one guy to stand up today at a critical time to win this game. It's possible.
Could potentially be one of those names on their bench as well, because Amol brought up Aman Khan from Mumbai, who's already in the 11. The two batting options they will likely consider for that impact sub in the second innings. One is Prithvi Shaw, other Sarfaraz Khan. Amol knows all these guys so well.
Yeah.
So we must speak about, I know David Warner has spoken about every game, but I do, since we have the opportunity with you here, Amol, I do want to bring up Prithvi Shaw. You've seen him for so many years. We've all discussed him for so many years.
Yeah.
How frustrating is it to watch him not do complete justice to the audacious talent we all know he is?
Look, just to say a couple of lines on that playing 11, I'm a little surprised that Prithvi Shaw doesn't find himself opening the innings. You know, sometimes when you've identified the talent, of course he's a talent, no doubt about it. He doesn't have the numbers this year, but he forms a good partnership with David Warner. I feel, Prithvi Shaw could have been in that 11. Of course, he could be used as an impact player. But
this is just for the benefit of our viewers. This is the bowling first 11, so we can still ostensibly see Shaw come in and take that top spot.
But sometimes when you're as a player, it can affect your mindset.
You want to see the name in there initially.
In the 11. That is the best possible 11 for. But having said that, coming back to Prithvi Shaw point, I've spent the entire domestic season along with him. He was with the Mumbai team, played the entire season. So it's a little frustrating not to see him score that many runs in 2018 after the Under-19 World Cup. I think Shubman Gill and Prithvi Shaw were termed as the next two big things in Indian cricket. He hasn't lived up to that expectations. I mean, if you see the runs there, 14 innings, 317, whereas 20 innings of Gill has got him 666. So I guess, Prithvi Shaw, sometimes I feel there is a little bit of a technical thing as well with him, where he needs to adjust to that pace. And if I can talk a little bit of technique, probably that, if you see his dismissals against Mark Wood, against Mohammad Shami, and against Trent Bolt, there was hardly any feet movement. So if he can sort that out, I think you will see better of Prithvi Shaw.
Yeah, that trend has been disturbing with his dismissals. But as much as we talk about the frustration for those of us on the outside, Bish, we must also consider the frustration for the player himself.
Yeah.
Just something as simple as what we saw on our screens, that Shaw-Gill comparison. These are two men, then boys, who you saw at close quarters during that Under-19 World Cup of 2018, and just see how differently the trajectories have gone. Shubman Gill today is gunned in for almost all formats of international cricket, and Prithvi Shaw has been wearing in and out.
Yeah, and Amol obviously knows him much better than I do. Technically, of course, there are issues there. In this format, there are two different type of players. Prithvi, more of a high-risk, high-stroke player, whereas Shubman, at least up until now, will sort of rein it in. He will change gears and sometimes can play a more conservative role, as the strike rate tells you. Prithvi in the 140s, Shubman in that early to mid 130s. I wonder how much the character and the personality, which I can't speak about because I don't know either of them that well. Because when Prithvi started, he got 100 against the West Indies in a test match.
Yep.
It was an early kickoff before Shubman got
Absolutely.
in. Shubman just seems calmer, a little bit more focused, whereas you hear and you read stories about things off the field with Prithvi, so I can't speak to it. I don't know them that well, but I'm hoping that he finds himself a little bit later in his life.
Sometimes, just to add to that point, sometimes when you're going through a slump, you know, as a batter, you need to get that work ethics up. You need to spend a lot of time in the nets, a lot of time hitting the ball, and once you find that sweet spot on the bat, you automatically start gaining that confidence. Batting is nothing but confidence. So I feel somebody like Prithvi Shaw needs to spend a little bit more time in the nets hitting that ball.
Yeah, and similar fortunes for what could be Prithvi Shaw's opening partner if he does get into the Delhi 11, but we'll save David Warner for the conversation at the end of the innings. On the Delhi bowling front, to both of you, we've spoken so much about Virat Kohli, Faf du Plessis, not as comfortable against spin. You look at Delhi spinners, as good as Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar Patel have been over the years, there is a dearth of wickets for Delhi spinners. You can see it on your screens, just 3 wickets between Kuldeep and Akshar over 25 overs. You need a lot more potency from your spinners, don't you, Amol?
Absolutely. I mean, Kuldeep Yadav is somebody who you would bank on the start of, because he's a wicket taker. He brings that extra element to the game. Not many Chinaman bowlers, so I think Kuldeep Yadav brings that kind of an element to the game. He's a wicket taker. I personally feel it will be a good challenge for somebody like Kuldeep Yadav to bowl against Virat Kohli. If I was in the camp of Delhi Capitals, I would have definitely thrown the ball to Kuldeep Yadav in the first 6 overs. I would like him to bowl to Virat and Faf.
Yeah, numbers on your screen. Story well told for quite a few years now. Go ahead, Bish.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because spin seems to slow both of them early up. Axel's got 7 wickets, I think, in his last 16 IPL matches, but his economy rate is good, but he's not picking wickets. But I don't think if they last the new ball, if they last the first couple of overs, absolutely get one of those 2 spinners, those 2 left-arm spinners into the attack, at least for an over or 2 in the power play and see what happens.
Just on that, what you mentioned, Bish, about Akshar, there's definite drop down in the number of wickets and the bowling strike rate. But do you feel it's also at times in defense of the bowler a function of the role? Maybe the bowler is assigned a role where the job for Akshar is containment, whereas wickets come from the other end.
Sometimes, yes, but 7 wickets in 15 games or 16 games. I think as a bowler, I'd want to play that role if it's assigned to me, but I'd want more than half a wicket a match. Because I do think still that a spinner in the middle overs has great value of wicket taking. And the other night when we played in Delhi, it was turning around corners. So he definitely would have wanted a wicket or 2.
Yeah, definite swing in Akshar Patel's career trajectory. Started off as a bowling all-rounder. You look at the last year or so, you think this is one of the finest batting all-rounders going around because the batting is reaching newer heights with pretty much every other game. Almost time.
We take great claim to that in the Caribbean. We started him off at the Queen's Park Oval in the one-day international.
Well, that was a sensational finish, wasn't it?
He hasn't looked back.
Yeah, he hasn't. So as this game just about to begin, let me get predictions from both you gentlemen. RCB batting first at Chinnaswamy. What is the score they are finishing at? Amol, you first.
190, I would say.
Ooh.
At Chinnaswamy Stadium.
That exact figure, which has just about been defended.
Am I allowed a couple of runs here and there?
On debut, we'll give you that leeway.
Okay,
Go for
fine.
it.
190.
Yeah, all right.
I've said 190.
Okay.
I'll stick by it.
Their game 183. I'm going 183.
183.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a close one between the two of you. So let's see how that plays out. Usually, we've seen over the past week, 200 has also fallen short. 3 scores of 200 in this week in the IPL, and only once was it defended successfully. That was 228 by Sunrisers against Kolkata Knight Riders. We'll bring you everything from this first innings right after it ends. Be sure to join us back on T20 Timeout, and in the meantime, stay up to date with the game by getting on our app, the ESPNcricinfo app. If you still haven't got it, Play Store, App Store now. Get it. We'll see you after the first innings. Thank you for your time.